A Vindication of the Rights of Men by Mary Wollstonecraft, published in 1790, is a significant work of political philosophy that addresses the tumultuous political landscape of late 18th century Britain. While the title might suggest a focus solely on the rights of men, Wollstonecraft's text actually serves as a critique of Edmund Burke's conservative views and an impassioned defense of the principles of the French Revolution. The narrative of the book unfolds through Wollstonecraft's articulate and forceful arguments, challenging prevailing political ideologies and advocating for the rights and equality of all citizens. The story begins with Wollstonecraft's response to Burke's Reflections on the Revolution in France, published in 1790. Burke, a conservative statesman, had expressed vehement opposition to the French Revolution, arguing for the preservation of traditional institutions and warning against radical change. In A Vindication of the Rights of Men, Wollstonecraft vigorously counters Burke's arguments, defending the revolutionary principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Wollstonecraft's narrative unfolds through a series of letters addressed to Burke, presenting a point-by-point rebuttal of his arguments. She criticizes Burke for his support of monarchy, aristocracy, and the established church, which she sees as perpetuating inequality and limiting the rights of the common people. Her eloquent prose and logical reasoning serve to dismantle Burke's conservative stance, offering a compelling alternative vision for a just and equitable society. One of the central themes of the book is Wollstonecraft's passionate defense of reason and rationality as the foundation for political discourse. She criticizes Burke for relying on tradition and prejudice, advocating instead for the use of reason to guide political decision-making. Wollstonecraft contends that reason is the key to achieving social progress and justice, and she rejects Burke's romanticized view of the past as an idealized era to which society should return. The narrative also delves into Wollstonecraft's views on education and its role in shaping individuals and society. She argues for the importance of providing education to all citizens, irrespective of gender or social class, as a means of fostering reason, virtue, and civic responsibility. Wollstonecraft's emphasis on education as a tool for individual and societal improvement aligns with her broader vision of a more enlightened and just society. Wollstonecraft addresses issues of privilege, power, and inequality throughout the book. She critiques the aristocracy's monopoly on power and wealth, advocating for a more egalitarian distribution of resources. Her arguments reflect the broader sentiments of the time, when the inequalities of the social and political systems were coming under increased scrutiny, especially in the wake of revolutionary fervor. A significant aspect of Wollstonecraft's narrative is her engagement with gender politics. While the book is titled A Vindication of the Rights of Men, Wollstonecraft does not shy away from discussing the rights of women. She challenges the prevailing notion of women as intellectually inferior and argues for their right to education and active participation in civic life. Wollstonecraft's advocacy for gender equality foreshadows her later and more famous work, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, published in 1792. The narrative unfolds with Wollstonecraft's critique of the monarchy and her call for a republic that prioritizes the well-being and rights of all citizens. She argues that her vision of a just society aligns with the principles of the French Revolution, which sought to dismantle oppressive systems and establish a more democratic and egalitarian order. Wollstonecraft's passionate defense of the revolutionary spirit reflects the broader ideological debates of the time, as well as her commitment to principles of justice and human rights. As the story progresses, Wollstonecraft critiques Burke's defense of the French monarchy and his sympathy for the aristocracy. She challenges the idea that tradition and inherited privilege should be the basis for political authority, advocating instead for a system that derives legitimacy from the consent of the governed. Wollstonecraft's arguments echo the emerging democratic ideals of the era, reflecting a growing dissatisfaction with the entrenched power structures of monarchy and aristocracy. The narrative also addresses the role of religion in political life. Wollstonecraft critiques Burke's alignment with the established church and his reliance on religious authority to justify political hierarchy. She argues for the separation of church and state, advocating for a secular government that respects the rights and freedoms of all citizens, regardless of their religious beliefs. The story reaches its culmination with Wollstonecraft's impassioned plea for justice, reason, and the rights of all citizens. She concludes by reiterating her commitment to the principles of the French Revolution and her vision of a society founded on reason, equality, and the well-being of its citizens. In summary, A Vindication of the Rights of Men by Mary Wollstonecraft is a compelling narrative that engages with the political and philosophical debates of its time. Wollstonecraft's critiques of Burke's conservative views, her advocacy for reason and education, and her call for justice and equality contribute to a powerful defense of the principles of the French Revolution. The narrative reflects Wollstonecraft's commitment to human rights, her critique of entrenched power structures, and her vision for a more enlightened and just society. A Vindication of the Rights of Men serves as a significant contribution to the intellectual landscape of the late 18th century and a precursor to Wollstonecraft's later and more extensive exploration of women's rights in A Vindication of the Rights of Woman.